Hey, party people. Today I want to talk to you about how I shop for clothes as a fashion designer. And important note, I am a fashion designer, not a stylist. So this video is not going to be about personal style or aesthetics. This video is going to be more about how I assess quality and how I carefully add things to my own wardrobe. I just want to put out there, okay, first of all, this is clothes and some accessories. This is not how I shop for a house or a car or anything. So, or tools or, household goods. So if I don't put out a disclaimer, somebody always comes up with some off the wall exception to the rule. And I'm just like, there's a saying, never say always and never say never. Okay, first thing I do is I check the fiber content. And I am, in most cases, looking for natural fibers. That's cotton, linen, flax, wool, silk, genuine leathers, more like linen, cotton type fibers like jute and hemp. I will make exceptions for things that are like performance fibers, things that are like activewear, like sports bras, but for the most part, I'm looking for natural fibers. If I'm looking at blends, okay, like wool, nylon, wool, polyester is a common blend because the core polyester or nylon lends the strength to the wool, and then the core polyester will be wrapped in wool fibers. So you get the softness and you get the moisture wicking and all these properties from the wool. So they're attempting to combine the best qualities of both fibers to create this fabric. But I want a lot of the natural fiber in there in that case. I don't want 5% wool. I want like 40% wool. All right. I do try to stay away from blends on a sustainable level with the whole future of recycling and separating blended fibers and all of that. But just in terms of quality, most brands, not always, if they are actively trying to use natural fibers across their product offerings, they are typically more concerned with quality in general. One of the number one reasons why, other than sustainability, that I always check for natural fibers is I sweat. And like sweating in a polyester, just like a plastic bag. Polyester t-shirts are essentially plastic bags. And so let's say it's a hot day. I live in California. It's a hot day. You're sweating in a plastic bag. Gross. Okay. Not only that, but most of my work involves these camera lights. And after a minute, they get hot. Oh, I did this one project in New York. We were shooting in June during a 90-something degree Fahrenheit heat wave. And you can't shoot with AC on. I never shoot with AC on because it's too loud. So we're doing this whole thing, the whole set, everybody, we can't have the AC on while we're shooting, while we're recording, right? Someone couldn't find the remote to control the AC, so we couldn't even turn it on in between takes, during lunch, anything like that to cool down the studio. I never flapped my arms so much in my life. Okay, so there's that. I like to be comfortable. I don't want to be sticky with like the sweat just sitting there. That's why performance fibers, they're like geared to be moisture wicking, like pulling moisture away from the surface of your skin. And so when you have performance fibers with activewear where you're at the gym and you're sweating, okay, that's kind of okay. Number 2, test the fit. I always test the fit. Okay? And I test the fit in a few different ways. Okay, number 1, when I try something on, I do things in the clothes and accessories that I will be doing in real life. Okay, there's a very small chance I will be doing squats and lunges in evening wear. Okay, but if I'm trying jeans on, I will absolutely be doing some squats in the dressing room. Okay, I will be sitting down. Okay, if I am buying heels, I will be clacking on some like tile, testing how comfortable they are. Okay, always test Okay, like when you buy foundation, you dab some on and then you go out in the sunshine, make sure there's like a good match. Now I'm feeling really insecure about how good my foundation is matching under these lights. Another thing is kind of assessing what is an easy fix and not. Okay, anything that's a length that can be fixed by just chopping off one end is an easy fix that most alterations people, even beginners, can do fairly well. Hems are too long. You want the skirt to be shorter. Sleeves are too long. Those are fairly easy fixes, depending on how much design is involved at the edge of things. That's why when it comes to pants, there's not a lot of design happening at the hems because designers want, the customers to have the ability to hem the pants to the length that they need. And if you go to nicer stores, they might have tailoring services on site. So if something like that, then that's not going to stop me from buying it. Okay. It might if you're not somebody who's going to take it to, yourself. You know yourself. And if you know that those too long pants are going to just sit in your closet forever because you don't know who to take it to. And so it's a whole thing where you have to do the research and find someone and then you have to drive to. If you know you're not going to do it, don't bother. But if it's got like weird pulls and ripples and things and it's just not sitting right on your body, whether you're standing or you're sitting, always try on clothes and sit down. Okay, always try on clothes and sit down because you will be sitting down a lot of the time. And if it feels gross, looks like not great, when you're sitting, you're not going to wear it. You're not going to wear it. Okay, so those kinds of things where the fit feels wrong in different places and you're not really sure what you're going to do about it, unless it's your wedding dress or something to that level where you already know you're going to expend the energy to get it beautifully altered to fit your body, except for those kinds of cases, forget about it. Okay? But like lengths, no biggie. Pull up that hem, no biggie. Number 3, always check the care instructions because I am not a dry clean girly. Here's a dirty secret of the fashion industry. Dry clean only is something a lot of designers put into their labeling because they're too lazy or they ran out of time to do wash tests on their fabric. How can you tell the difference between legit dry clean only and just paste it on there? Listen, someone could write a book on it. I won't because I find it boring, but do a little Googling, assess your garment, that sort of thing. Things you can do instead of dry cleaning or to space out your dry cleaning, those things include first of all, my drying rack is literally my favorite thing in terms of taking care of my clothes. You want to air dry your clothes in between wears. Okay, invest in spot treatments. Okay, you definitely want to test like a little bit of the seam allowance on the inside to make sure the spot treatment is going to ruin your fabric. But air dry between wears, spot treatment as needed, like a gentle hand washing and laying it out to dry often works. If your stuff is super duper delicate and you think it's just going to fall and droop, matte jersey is not particularly delicate, but it is very heavy. It's a heavy fabric and it is heavy when wet. And so what I like to do is I like to spread a towel on my drying rack and then I put whatever needs to be, hung dry, laid flat to dry on top of the towel. And because it's a drying rack and there's holes everywhere, it's going to take longer because of the towel, but you see where I'm going with that? So I do invest a little bit in taking care of my clothes. I just don't think dry clean is as necessary as your labels would lead you to believe. But care instructions need to be placed legally by law in all your clothes. So they put that in there, but not every designer is organized enough, thoughtful enough to do all these care tests. So honestly, when I go shopping, if it says dry clean only, I side-eye it hard. And I really do rethink Can I get away with not dry cleaning that? How important is this in my life? Does this thing make me feel like $1,000,000? Like, it really makes me double think. Number 4, I don't shop fast fashion. And if you are not new to my channel, that should not be news to you that I'm anti-fast fashion. Yes, I have shopped fast fashion in the past, but once you know better, you do better. Listen, when I was 19 years old, I went on a school trip to Paris, and that was my first exposure to H&M. Never heard of it before, but I was so excited about it. Like this chain, it was cheap. And, we didn't know anything about sustainable fashion back then. This was the 90s. And all I knew was it was this chain of shops in Europe, was not in the US. And I totally had to check it out the second I landed in Paris. And so I did. And man, it was a different ball game back then. And those pieces actually lasted me a really long time. So even within the fast fashion sphere, quality has been going down the tubes. Here's the thing is when I was a baby designer, like when I was in fashion school, when I was a baby designer, the saying was, I never pay retail price because I know the money and I know the markup, and it was this kind of like snobby thing designers would say, like, I never pay retail because I know what it really costs. The landscape is really different now. And it's funny, like I've been thinking a lot about how much fashion has changed in the time. Because lately people have been asking me so much, like I've been talking about fashion school and like my early days so much. I've really been thinking a lot about how the industry has changed so much in the decades since I first started. And let me tell you, it's just really different, but I can't do fast fashion. I really, don't really care about not paying retail anymore. It's fine. Honestly, if I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And I just don't buy it. But yeah, the saying always used to be, oh, I never pay retail. I work in fashion, so I know how much things cost. And I'm like, you know what now? I know what things cost and I know how little everyone gets paid. And so I don't really have a problem paying retail. On that note, I don't haggle either. This is more of a traveling thing because in the US, there aren't a lot of situations in a clothing and accessories environment where you would be haggling. Like flea markets, that kind of situation, like I just don't haggle. The price is there. The person has decided they want to charge this much. If I can't afford it, if I don't think it's worth it, if I don't think something is worth the price that's on the tag, I either A, don't want to give my money to someone who's trying to scam people, or B, there's something about it that I'm not knowledgeable about. There are a lot of other reasons something may cost a lot. This is something that I've learned working in the industry. There are so many things that go into making clothes. And, trying to, describe that to someone who doesn't work in fashion, it's a lot. It's a lot. And, I'm sure you've seen those videos where someone goes into like a thrift store and something was labeled like $2.99, but it ended up being like a cool designer or something that definitely should have been marked up more. And here's the thing. Goodwill is not hiring fashion experts to price their everyday items so that they know to price specific things more expensively. Okay? They are hiring regular people who just, basically price the way they're told. And so, yeah, sometimes you will see something that is priced super, super low because you know more about its perceived value. There's a lot that goes into that. So if I'm in a situation, number one, if I think it's not worth that money, I don't want to give my money to a scammer. Number two, there might be something involved that I don't understand that would warrant that price. And if I really want something, maybe you ask. It's like, this is really special. What's going on here? Can you tell me about how it's made, where it's from? Maybe it's just super freaking old. And the fact that it's in decent condition, despite being 130 years old, is what warrants the price. So I don't really haggle. I'm just going to throw in a little bonus because I'm going to Japan soon. Okay, number one, I'm going to Japan soon. Okay, it is our family's. We're so happy my husband didn't die. celebration. So my sister's going, one of his sisters is going. It's going to be a whole thing, okay? So number one, I want to shoot some shorts while I'm there. So let me know if there's anything specific you want to see while I'm in Japan. Number two, because, I'll watch a couple of things like on YouTube, like what to pack or what are the great beauty finds in Japan right now? What's hot in J Beauty? Like, those kinds of videos are fun to watch in preparation for a trip. I've been seeing people who are like, Japan is such a great fashion capital. Like, just don't pack any clothes when you get there. Just hit the Uniqlo that's like 12 stories in Ginza. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see that because it's 12 freaking floors. Not that I want to do any shopping. Okay, we've talked about that. But first of all, this whole idea of like just buying a whole new wardrobe somewhere just because, okay, I hate that kind of shopping. I think it's really problematic. And number two, and quite frankly, honestly, this is the first thing that popped into my mind, okay? That's nasty. Okay, that's nasty. I have seen the insides of these sewing factories. I have seen how many bare naked hands touch all these garments. And I will absolutely wear a jacket without washing it first, but ain't no way I'm wearing underwear before I wash it first. And maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he was just talking about jeans, but honestly, when he said that, it was just like a blanket statement he made. I was just like, oh, gross. Like, that was just my visceral reaction. Those of y'all who don't do laundry and then just decide to buy more underwear, that's nasty. You know what? If you decide to unfollow me because of that, so be it. It's nasty. There was this, I don't know what you would call maybe performance art of this person. And she had, actually don't know their gender. They had put ink on their hands and made a white shirt. And they sewed it. And in the video, the whole point was to show kind of like how much handwork goes into the making of a shirt. But to me, that was showing us how many germs get spread all over the shirt and all over your sewing machine and everything in the process of making clothes. So, when I travel, I always have an extra set of clothes, underwear, socks, the whole shebang in my carry-on. Number two, even if you do have to buy underwear because someone, like your airline lost your luggage, please, for the love of God, at least go to do a nice, good hand scrubbing of your new underwear. Like, I like to wash t-shirts and stuff too, but underwear is really the thing. I did have a roommate once, and she did not like doing laundry. Long story short, one day I came home from work, and I found her sitting on the floor wearing my underwear. They were distinctly mine. I was absolutely sure they were mine. They weren't just like plain black cotton, whatever. No, they were absolutely mine. And yeah, that was the beginning of the end. I'm like, how often have you done that? You know what? I don't want to know the answer. Anyway, that's how I shop as a fashion designer who's worked in the industry and view the clothing industry a tiny bit differently maybe than other people. If you have any questions, comments, drop them below. Video requests, drop them below. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Maybe give this video a thumbs down if you're like, I will raw dog straight out of the plastic wrap underwear until I die, Zoe. I don't know. It's all engagement. People get so like, oh, sometimes they get all mad at me and downvote my video. I'm like, thanks for the engagement. All YouTube knows is that it's engagement. They actually do not care if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. But it's just not nice to thumbs down unless you really hate it. So, I'm not trying to test you or nothing. I'm in a goofy mood. I have had a lot of coffee today. Like more than usual. I know I drink a lot of coffee, but more than usual. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'm so over caffeinated. I'm sitting here still drinking coffee. You know why? Because it's delicious. It's a problem. It's a problem when your husband knows good coffee from bad coffee and feeds you the good stuff.